Hi, I have got a good handful of stuff to show you today. So, if you're new here, it's the Apple Crafts podcast, and I talk about knitting and sometimes I throw in a little bit of crochet. And today's episode, I'm going to be talking about my favorite accessories. So, I've got a good handful of shawls for you, I've got a hat, and some gloves. These are the things that I wear the most. So I have a ton of shawls. And if you followed me at all this year, then you know that I have a ton of shawls. Because I've knitted a ton of shawls this year. So there's that. And then I don't have a whole lot of gloves, maybe 5 pairs of gloves or something like that. But they're not really gloves that I wear a lot. So these are all things that I wear a lot throughout the winter season for the last 3 years, 4 years, 4 years. So if something's free, I'll let you know that it's free. Most of these are paid for, and I'm looking at my notes. And a lot of the time, the designers that I'm going to be talking about today have sales. So give them a follow on Instagram or Twitter or something like that, and you could probably get them on sale. Okay, so we're gonna get started. This shawl is actually one of the first ones I ever knit. And this is called the Afetos Shawl by Cartucha Knits. And it's an asymmetrical shawl. And I knit this with Knit Picks Hawthorne in the Arletta colorway and the Jupiter colorway. So I'm gonna get real close so you can see what color is what. So this lace section here is the Arletta, and this white contrasting is the Jupiter, and it's a white base with speckles of orange and purple. What else is in there? Grape, which is also a purple, but it's a different shade of purple. Yeah. And then that Arletta and that lace is like different tones of pink with a little bit of purple in there, some cream, some orange in here. It's picking up pretty well. So some people actually don't like Knit Picks Hawthorne. They think it feels a little plasticky. And I think if you're used to knitting with, actually really, I mean, this is a superwash wool and it does feel different from other superwash wools. And I guess if you're used to other types, I wouldn't say it feels plasticky to knit with, but I would say that it's definitely a different type of texture. But I do like it, and I do wear this quite often. This is what it looks like. I did not wear this last winter, but over the last 4 years that I've had this, I would say I wore a good handful. So it's like 100 degrees outside. Almost. I'm looking at the computer, it's telling me the temperature, and yeah, it's hot. So I'm probably gonna get flushed trying on all these things for you, but you know, that's why we take breaks. So yeah, let me see, this is a fingering weight. I probably knit it on a 5 because most of my shawls are on a US 5, which is, what's a US 5? 8 millimeter? I feel like that's wrong. I don't know. I did have coffee today, but you know. So anyway, I think it's really pretty. And I'm not really someone who wears a lot of pink. I do have some pink items, but I don't wear a lot of pink, but you know, I think this is really pretty. Anything else I can say about this? Oh, this is a free pattern on Ravelry. And it's really not that hard. If you're, I wouldn't say it's beginner lace, but if you've done some lace, then this should be fine for you to try out. And yeah, so I was thinking of a different designer. So yeah, and I don't remember if the lace is charted out because it's been 4 or 5 years since I knit this, but it's a free pattern, so you can go check it out. Okay, so that's Afetos by Cartucha Knits. The next shawl, I wore this a lot last year. is the Keady Wrap by Ambah O'Brien. And this is not free, but again, save it in your favorites and it might show up next year and you can get it 50% off, or you can buy it full price. So this pattern, if you're used to making wraps, you can tell already that this is basically 2 triangles that you knit and then piece them together. So what I did with this, I knit this on a 5, and because I generally don't do things like knit one thing and then knit the other thing, because I know my tension's probably going to change, which is why, like for socks, for example, I always do 2 at a time, so that no matter what my tension's like, it's going to be the same on both items. So it's kind of what I did with this. I just kind of knit them continuously. That's not the right word. I would knit one section and then knit the other section. So basically you start here, right? So I would do this triangle and then I'll go ahead and knit this part. That way at least the tension is somewhat similar, so that when I piece it together I don't have 2 different sides going on here. So the yarn, all of this is my yarn. So this is damask, and pretty sure this is on my MCN base. Let me turn this around so it's not backwards. This is on my MCN base and it's speckled with gray and pink. And then this is Black Cat, that's the eyelet section here. And then, and I think this is also Palmer fingering the black. The pink here is Raspberry Ice, and that has Lurex. Yeah, you can kind of see the Lurex in there. This is Merino Nylon and Lurex. And then we go back to the Black Cat, and then Damask, and then I pieced it together with Black Cat, and same thing on this side. Raspberry Ice is discontinued. Damask I occasionally have in the shop, and I will be bringing back Black Cat at some point, because it's nice to have you know, a neutral color. So like, it's not a solid black, it's tonal, so you'll have like variances of different shades of dark black. So it'd be like really black or like dark gray, or you know, something like that. So try this on for you. This is huge. So like, well, I didn't talk about the wingspan on the last one. But I mean, they're all about the same, you know, unless it's like super big. All my shawls are about 64, 65 inches. So this is the wingspan. Actually with this wrap, I like to wear it like this around my shoulders. And in the fall, the nights are cold, but the days are warm, so you're still wearing a tank top. So it's nice to have a wrap or a shawl for the evenings. And so I did wear this one a few times last fall with my tank tops, because Tennessee has just got weird weather, y'all. So this is generally how I wear it, and it's really comfortable, and it's a good size. So there you go. There's that. That's the Keady Wrap by Ambah O'Brien. I've got grease stains on my shirt. I don't know where it came from. Might have been from the cupcakes I was making earlier. I don't know. I don't care. This is clothing that I wear around the house. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, so the next one is the Mooncat Shaw. And all this is my yarn too. So the Mooncat Shawl is by Kelly McClure, and it's a crescent shawl with cute little tendrils on the end. I like the way the crescent shawls kind of just, you know, make a little curly Q on the ends. I think it's cute. So here's this, and I'll show you the colors. This top one it's polymer fingering, but it's undyed. This was a one of a kind back when I was playing around when I first started yarn dyeing, so it has a little bit of lilac in there and some various shades of blue. So just kind of garter and then eyelet, garter, eyelet. This here I do have in the shop, but it's limited. I might only have like 1 or 2 skeins left right now. But I will not be getting rid of it, so it'll come back. Like I'll have more in there eventually. But this is Dead Moroz, and basically that's Father Christmas in Russian. And there is Lurex in there, so you can kind of see the sparkle going on in there. So it's a white background with black speckles, a tiny bit of gold speckle, blue speckles, yeah. And then this blue is Larkspur, which I will not be bringing back into the shop, but I think I've got like 1 or 2 left. And then Black Cat and some more of the Dead Moroz. And then I finished it off with trim of Polworth undyed, and it's got little picots on the end, like on the lace part, little picots, just to give it a little pizzazz. Okay, so this one I actually have a picture, I think on my phone, of me wearing this last year, so I'll put this here. It's kind of like my uniform. I wore that with a sweater that I'll be talking about on my next podcast, and a cabled hat. I wore that quite often last winter. So this is what it looks like on. And this is usually how I wear it. And I think that for me, asymmetrical shawls and crescent shawls are the most flattering for my style. I do have some triangle shawls that I actually will be showing you, at least one here that is a triangle shawl, but they're not my go-to when I pull stuff out of my wardrobe. But yeah, so that's this. It's the Mooncat by Kelly McClure. The next shawl I'm going to show you is the Bombara Wrap by Ambah O'Brien. It's really more like a scarf than a wrap because it's very narrow. So I did some modifications with this pattern. So the original pattern is with fingering weight, and I did this with DK because I like big shawls. So usually if something is fingering weight and I want to just make it bigger, I'll just knit the whole thing in DK weight. Rarely do I add repeats going wide. And I probably should have done that with this one because it's quite narrow going this way. Like it's skinny, you know. So that's my only regret with this, but otherwise I love this pattern. I've knit this back in 2019. And most of this yarn is mine. Not all of it, but this yellow here is Redhead Fibers. She stopped dyeing a long time ago. This blue is my Larkspur. And then we go into Grassy Meadow, which is showing up beautifully on the camera. I do have this in the shop. And the Grassy Meadow is it's got tonal greens in there with like splashes of blue, kind of like wildflowers in a meadow. That was what I was going for with this. And that looks really nice. And then we go back to Redhead Fibers, and then there's this, I don't remember what this colorway is. I know it's I'm pretty sure it's Queen's Yarn Boutique, but I don't remember the colorway. And then just go back to Redhead Fibers. And the way I like to wear this one, I'll wear it sometimes like this, you know, depending on how I'm feeling. Usually I'll wear it as a scarf. So as a scarf, I'll make it short one side, long on the other side, and just kind of go around like this. Or I'll do it like this. One winter I was in Canada and I wore the crap out of this, and just to get it out of my way, I tied it, you know. So I did it like that. So there's a few ways that you can wear this. It's very versatile. So I think I knit this on a 6 just because it was DK weight and a shawl, and I still want some of that drape. So if I knit this on a 5, it would have been kind of tight. So yeah, and what I like about Ambah O'Brien, I've said this before, is that she writes everything out and she also charts. So if you're somebody who is afraid of charts or a little hesitant to knit with charts, she's got everything written out, and I highly encourage going back and forth and learning how to read charts just from looking at how she has it written out and then looking at it on the chart to see what it looks like, so that you start learning, because she's a really good pattern designer for learning how to read off the chart. So, okay, so that's Bambara. And this is a paid for pattern, if I didn't say that already. All right, this next pattern is a free pattern. It's from Alicia Plummer. And I'm sure most of you have heard of this pattern because it gets talked about, or used to get talked about a lot. This is the Campside Sha. And I'm sure I knit this mostly correct. I started getting lost a little bit with the eyelets. So I kind of just winged it in some areas. But yeah, I live in this shawl at home like every winter. I will wear this out sometimes, but this is like my home shawl. So like I almost don't go a day in the winter without using this shawl in some way, shape, or form. Whether I'm sitting at my computer desk like this, or I've got it wrapped around like this, and then, you know, tied in the front. I think I need to lower this camera a little bit. Yeah. Or like tie it in the front and just kind of do what I need to do on the computer. So I think I knit this on probably an 8. This is worsted weight. The yarn is Susie the Shepherdess, and she comes out of Indiana, Illinois. I always get that mixed up. I don't remember which state it is. It's one of those 2 states. But so it's just this I wouldn't say it's rustic, but it's merino. So it's not like the merino you're used to if you go to like the yarn shop or something. It is a little bit harder feeling, but it's not itchy. You know, it's still merino, so it's still soft. It's just more rustic for merino. But so you have all these eyelets that get spaced out, and then the further down you go into the triangle, the closer and more numerous the eyelets are. And actually I lengthened this because I think I played around with this too. This is supposed to just be ribbing, and so I just kind of changed up the ribbing a little bit to give it a little bit of pizzazz. And I don't think this part was in there either, because it stops like here. And I was living in this so much that I realized that I really needed to lengthen it. So I just added like another 3 or 4 inches to it. So I just played around with this part here on the shawl. But a few ways that you can wear it if you're not living in your own shawl. It's really big. Like it really is cozy. Is this the word we want to go for? Cozy. So yeah, starting to get warm. Okay, So yeah, you can wear it like that. And, you know, the traditional way, like I showed earlier. But yeah, this is actually a really good pattern. It's free. And you can just kind of play around with it. You really, because of the way it's set up, all you really need to do if you want to make it bigger is just lengthen your sections. So, you know, if you want to make it like really big, you can just lengthen this section here, and then lengthen that section there, and then lengthen that, and then lengthen that, and then you're good to go. So yeah, there's that. And it's definitely one of my favorite shawls. Okay. Okay, I'm done with shawls. I've got my one hat and my one pair of gloves. And then depending on how long the episode is, I might show what I'm working on. So I haven't worn this hat much. I knit it last winter, but I think it's adorable. So this is in my Mad Blood colorway. It's in DK weight, and it's got a ton of those little bobbin things because these are supposed to be cranberries. So there's a ton of these in every section, which I ain't gonna lie, it slowed me down big time. And I think I did a different method for the bobbles than what was actually in the pattern. Because in the pattern, if I remember correctly, you're going back and forth to knit the bobbles, and I found a video online that has it where you knit the bobbles and then slip it back onto the other needle and then knit it again and then slip it back on and then knit it one more time, and it makes these little nubbies. So that was way easier. So it's got a very long brim that you sew in on the inside, and yeah, makes it really comfortable if you like a really long brim for your ears. So you need to cover your ears, and it's slouchy, so there you go. I mean, boom. I think it's adorable. I can't wait to wear it. And I especially chose this color because it goes with one of my favorite sweaters that I'll be showing next episode. Because this color is in that. So I'm trying to be more conscious about matching my wardrobe. I've gotten lucky so far where pretty much everything that I've knit, pullover and sweater wise, matches a shawl in some way, shape, or form. Hats, I kind of just go willy-nilly, and I need to stop doing that and actually try to use colors with intention. So that's why I did this, because at least it goes with one outfit, maybe two. I didn't say what it was called. This is the Cranberry Autumn Hat. I'm sorry, Cranberry Autumn. Yeah, because the little nubs are cranberries. And this is by Alicia Plummer. And I think I knit this on a 5, US 5. Yeah. And then that's the crown. Well, yeah. And then last but not least, these are actually my good ones. I made 2 pairs of these. So these are the Moondust Mitts by Melanie Berg. And the yarn is Feisty Fibers in the Spike colorway. It's a fingering weight. And it's grays and orange and rust and a little bit of cream peeking out. And by the time I had knit this pair of mittens, I had already knit a fair amount of, like, I don't say maybe 3 pairs of fingerless mittens by then. So usually the first couple, not for everybody, but the first couple times you knit mittens, you tend to do two left hands or 2 right hands because, you know, you're messing up the charts a little bit or not getting it right. And I never had that problem until I knit these. But it worked out in my favor. So I knit these and I had 2 lefts, right? And I was like, well, darn it, that was a newbie mistake. But I had enough yarn to make another pair. And these are actually my nice pair because I have not worn these. My other ones are very used. I wear them. I live in them every winter. When did I make these? I made these in 2021. I live in these every day. And they have held up very well. It's a cute pattern. And I think it's because these are, I wouldn't say it's a high twist, but it's a nice twist. And I think that's what has made it where these have held up really well. But that's the design. Let me get up close. So that's the design. It's kind of like a cabley, swishy, back and forth type of thing going on here. And then the inside is just plain. It's a good length. Pretty sure I knit these on a 4. Maybe, yeah, it should be a 4. But, yeah. It's a very good pattern. She also has a pattern just like this, but it's for a hat. So if you don't want the mittens, you can make the hat. But it's a good pattern. And this is not a free pattern. I remember that. It's hot, y'all. We're going into September. It's 100 degrees outside. It looked like we were going to get fall weather coming up soon because the 10-day forecast looked like nothing was higher than 93. And then Mother Nature said, yeah, it's like, we're not done yet. So it's hot. And my son's outside mowing the lawn, so if you heard that in the background, that's what's going on, because it's jungle out there. I ain't doing it. He's young, he's strong, he can go do it himself, right? So, yeah, what else? I think that's it. So I do have some whips to show you. Do I have a finish? I do have a finish, but it's another blanket square, which I can show you next time, because at this point, if you've been following me all year, if you've seen one square, you've seen them all. So I'm gonna go and get the one thing that will actually be fully done today. Okay. An episode or 2 ago, I talked about the Maia tank and how I wanted to knit another one. So all I have left to do, I've got both sides, the front and the back, on these cable stitch holders, and I just have to put it together. That's it. 3 needle bind off, I'm done. So I'm gonna do that today. I already tried it on, looks like it's good. So then I just have to block it. And the story about this yarn, it's not 3 different types of yarn. There is I'll put an iCard if you want to see it. There was a one-of-a-kind that I made with a bunch of leftover dyes that I had, and I really liked the color, so I spent quite a bit of time trying to figure out how to make that color consistent. So these are all the beginning stages of that color, if you will, before I figured out a consistent method for that color. Because I'm not going to throw away the yarn, so I used it to make a tank top. So I'm going to put a picture of what my other one looks like. So this is my second one. It's the Maia tank by, oh man, I don't remember her name. I'll write it down here. It's a one size from 2017 or something like that. It's a free pattern. So basically, if you want to make it, honestly, it's really, really not that hard to, it's very easy to modify. I'll put it that way, because all you're doing is figuring out your swatch for your size going around, like literally. So once you figured out the math for that, all you're doing is this cable in the back. It's on both sides, okay? You're ribbing on the bottom, and then when you start binding off for sleeves, that's when you start picking up for the cable in the front, which is going to be your strap, and then you meet it in the back, Boom, you're done. So how I like to figure out my size is I do, for patterns like this, I do a swatch, and I'll make it like a good size. So it's probably like 5 or 6 inches across and 3 to 4 inches high. It's a small swatch, but it's enough for me to get where I want. Maybe because I'm a tight knitter, so my math is almost always correct. So however many stitches you get for 4 inches, multiply that by your bust size. If you'd like to do, you can do your decreases on the side if you like to do that kind of thing. It is bottom up. It's not that hard. I don't think it's that hard. So yeah, it's easy peasy. So this is my second one. And yeah, I'm looking forward to blocking this and wearing it for the rest of the season, because the way weather is here in Tennessee, I probably will get at least all of September, maybe a little bit of October in here before it's too cold for me to wear a tank top anymore. So, and this is DK weight. I do have the consistent colorway of Forest Floor in my shop, if you're interested. And then I had a little bit of castanitis, which actually is probably a good idea since I'll be done with that and I won't have anything else to knit. I picked up a blanket. So this is the Log Cabin blanket by Staci Perry, or Very Pink Knits. And oh, that's the back. It's worsted weight, but you can really use any yarn that you want. It's just a structure, so you knit a center panel, and then you pick up going one way, and then you pick up going the other way, and then you just keep going around picking up stitches and then going around the square. So I am not in the mood to sew a bunch of squares together because I already have to do that for my other blanket. I don't want to do that for another blanket. So what I decided to do was kind of go way off into left field with her pattern, but use the bones of the pattern. So like, for instance, I'm still picking up and going around in the square, but I'm not binding off completely and then starting off again in the center. I'm just going to keep going around and around and around and around and around until I'm done with yarn. So I have these old Karen cakes. I don't even think they make these anymore because it has wool in it. These a couple years ago. Because these are 80% acrylic and 20% wool. This is when Karen cakes first came out. And I don't think that any of the Karen cakes that I've seen anyway have wool in it anymore. But I've got 2 of these, and then I have, I'm looking at my basket. Actually, let me just bring the whole basket over. Okay, so I've got 2 of these. This is fairy cake. If you can find it anywhere, awesome, but I don't think that you will. This is pretty old. This yarn's like 5 or 6 years old. And then I've got these sweet rolls, Premier sweet rolls. I don't know if they make these anymore. I don't really get a lot of yarn from Joann and Michaels anymore. Sometimes I'll go in there and peruse and pick up some Croy, but I don't really get yarn from there anymore. These are 100% acrylic. This color is Frosty Swirl. And I have 2 of these. So this is my yarn barf that's currently on the square that I'm knitting. And then I have this one. And then I've got, yeah, another Karen cake, 8% acrylic, 20% wool. This is the colorway Mixed Berry. So I'm probably going to finish off with this color, although I don't really know how much of the square I'll get. I don't know. I'll probably play around with the color. I may do this one after the Mixed Berry, not Mixed Berry. After I'm done with these, I'll probably do this one and then finish off with this one. Yeah, I think I'll do that. Either way, it's really easy because you're not really knitting more than a small section at a time. So it's not like you've got this big swath, and you won't have a big swath of blanket for a while. So yeah, I'm knitting that on a US 8. And I'll probably be done with that before I'm done with the other blanket. Isn't that sad? I started that one back in January. Yeah. Oh, I did start the socks. Let's talk about that for a second. Ooh, I'm living dangerously. This is probably all gonna fall. No. Oh yeah, here we go. The avalanche has started. Nice. I am a couple stripes from starting the butterfly motif. So this is my yarn that I chose. The pink, that bright pink is pink tourmaline, that's mine. And the blue is one that I picked up at Smart Supply, and it didn't have a label. And then this grape color here, I also picked up at Smart Supply, and that didn't have a label either. And just to show you what the motif looks like, this is from Charlotte Stone Colorwork Socks. And that's what the pattern's gonna be. So technically I should be on the motif right now, but I want to make it higher up on the foot. So basically I'm knitting these stripes until I get to about here, and then I'm gonna start the motif. And all of the socks in this book are cuffed down, so I have to reverse engineer it, which isn't hard. So, and especially for these socks, because everything is striped. So I'm doing toe up, and then all I'm gonna do with the chart, say this is the chart, is just work it this way instead of this way. Because the chart's upside down, so basically right side up is how I'm going to work the chart. It's not that hard. And then I did a short row heel, German short row heel. So what I did was I made sure that when I started, I got as close to 6 inches and 6 3/4 inches on my foot. I think I actually ended up working out where I was closer to 7 inches, just so I can get the color management right. So what I did was, once I got to this purple here, that was the bottom part of my short row heel. And then after I went around, it was the next color, the pink. So I did my short row heel for the top part in the pink, and then just finished doing my colors stripes. That way it's not broken in the front. There's not different size rows going on in the front, because these are all three row sections. So that's basically what I did, was just color manage how I was going to do it in the back. I think it makes an interesting heel. So I'm going to be doing these stripes for another inch or two, probably 2 inches, because I want them kind of high. I want the butterfly almost to my calf. Yeah. So it might even be 3 inches, but I've got plenty of yarn, so I'm not worried about that. And then I'll do the butterfly motif. So next time I see you, I'll have these socks done. And then I'll be picking out another pattern from the book. What I might be doing, just because Halloween's coming up, hold on. I don't want to give away. Okay, there we go. So I might be doing these socks next, these bats. And that'll be a little interesting. I may have to do an afterthought heel with these. I want to play around with a forethought heel. I like the idea of putting in waste yarn right where you know you're going to cut, and then just keep on knitting so you don't have to worry about cutting your yarn. But I have to watch some videos on that, because I've never done that before. But I like that idea. So I might do that with these socks, because I don't want to interrupt anything with some stripes in here. And they're not going to be orange and black because I don't have orange or black yarn currently. So I have to look in my stash and see. I might do these in DK instead of fingering weight. I don't know. See, the problem with that is because it's color work, they're going to be really thick, and I don't think I'll be able to put them on in my shoes. So I'll have to play around with that idea. I don't know. But yeah, if I end up going with fingering weight, I am going to, it's going to be a completely different colorway. But I mean, who cares? It's not that big of a deal. Do they have to be orange and black? I'm not that much of a traditionalist, so I'm not that worried about it. Those will probably be my next socks, just because. And then after that, they have a Christmas sock in here. I don't think I have the yarn for that either, but I'm going to try as much as possible to have yarn for that. So I'll see what I can do. I'll show you what the Christmas socks look like. That's the Christmas socks. So those are my plans for the next 2 pairs of socks after I'm done with these. So we'll see how that goes. I am planning on going back to work in the next few weeks after a, how many years hiatus? Oh my God, when did I stop working? 2016? Yeah, I had the opportunity to stay home, finish raising my kids, and start a business, so I took it. I'm not going to make any apologies for that. So now I'm at a point where I'd like to go back to work. I need something different. So, yeah. So we'll see how much knitting time I have. I'll still podcast, and I'll still be able to knit, but I don't know how much of quantity I'll have to show. So we'll see. I think that's it. Yeah, I managed to talk for 45 minutes, almost. So, yeah. I still have a sale going on in the shop. Summer sale is almost over, so go in there, check that out. All yarn starts at $20. Yeah, I'm not really good at self-promotion. Oh well, it is what it is. All right, so I will see you middle of September with a favorite sweaters episode. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Bye.